So one of the things that I do a lot and that I even post on my channel a lot about is hunting. And I self-film my hunts. And for the last couple of years I've been using this product, this camera arm. Got it off of Amazon, and I think it costs about 25 bucks. And it's nice. It works real well. I've got really nothing bad to say about it. It's quality made. It's certainly economical. But the problem I have with it is it's too small, and it's not flexible. If I put this on the tree and wrap it around me, I can certainly film. But what if the deer is over on this side of the tree or slightly behind me? There's no way to get that over there. I mean, I suppose I could, but in a tree stand it's really not that easy. So I wanted to get a better camera arm. But the commercial ones, the good ones, start out at about $150 and go up from there. And frankly, I'm not really interested in spending that kind of money. So I thought, well, okay, I'm handy. I'll make something myself. This is what I've come up with. It's made out of aluminum. And what I'll do is I'll give you an overview of this, and then I'll show you how each component was constructed, right? First, we've got the main body of the camera arm. This is what attaches to the tree, and it's where the first extension connects onto. So you've basically got a claw that hooks into the tree. It's cut at a radius of about, what is that? I'd guess about a foot. So the tree you're going to be in needs to be over a foot so that those points can dig in. You strap it around the tree with this cam strap, and then you've got a threaded rod with a handle on it that you thread in to push out against the bottom of it and give you tension, tighten up that strap, and also to level the camera body. Then you've got a 2" by 1" extension that hooks into these tabs here with a 1/4" bolt that runs down through it. That then attaches to two 1" extensions that attach on the top and bottom, same way, 1/4" bolt. Another 2" by 1" extension. You've got a piece of 1/4" aluminum bar, which is bent at a 90-degree angle using heat, and that is, I wouldn't call it welding. They call it brazing. I wouldn't even really call it that. It's almost soldering, but it is solid. It's not going anywhere. And then through that piece of bar stock, you've got a 1/4" hole drilled through with a threaded piece of all thread or a bolt. I'm using a thumb bolt here that goes through and threads up through into this fluid head. And that's essentially what it is. Now, one note here. On the tops of each, where this 1/4" bolt goes through, you've got the bolt head, you've got a metal washer, then you've got a nylon washer. Then you've got the 1" extension arm, and between each extension arm, or each section of extension arm, are two nylon spacers. That's so that you get a really smooth action when those pivot. So on the top and bottom, you've got a metal washer and one nylon washer, and between each of the extensions you've got two nylon washers. Pretty important as far as I'm concerned. And you have to play around with the tension on these bolts. You want them tight but not too tight. So the way I've got it, it certainly flows, but when you, it's going to be hard for me to show you this, but if there's no, but they will hold that position until you move them. You'll just have to play around with it, but it worked really well. So going in a little bit more detail, let's look here. The main body is made of a 2" by 1" by 1/16" thick piece of aluminum square rectangular tube stock. Right? In that we've cut a 1/4" groove and filed the edges so that you can put a strap through it. The claw is made of 1/4" bar stock, and basically what I've done is I've cut out so that it will go over the edge of the main body so that you can get a braze joint on 3 different sides. You want this to be real sturdy. I've cut about a 12" radius. You could probably go a little less than that. I wouldn't go a lot more than that. That actually may be larger than 12" as well. But you really want these points to come in contact with the tree. And if your radius here is bigger than the radius of the tree, it won't. The tree will come in here and rest on this, which is less ideal. I've then taken and brazed on, for sake of this video I'm going to say braze, although it's not really brazing. Brazed on a piece of 1/4 inch aluminum and tapped that for this 3/8 inch threaded rod. I've then taken, put a handle on it, and I actually had to grind the diameter of that handle down to fit past this lock nut. And that lets you screw this in so that you can put pressure on the bottom part, push the bottom of the main body out relative to this to both level it and to put your final tension on your strap. Then I've brazed on these tabs, which again are made out of 1/4 inch stock, and these come out, they need to be spaced very carefully. So what I did is I took you're going to have 4 washers, 4 nylon washers in between these 2 tabs, in addition to your 2-inch piece of aluminum tube stock. So what I did is I found some metal washers that combined gave me the same, what was it? I think it was 0.3, no, that's not right, 0.132, 0.132 inches. So I found metal washers that when combined gave me that same 0.132, because you're not going to be able to leave those nylon washers in there while you're doing your brazing. It'll melt them. So I used those metal washers, put them in between there, put the bolt down through, tightened everything up so that when I brazed these on, my spacing was right. And it was. Moving on to the extensions, these are simplicity itself. You've basically just got a piece of 2-inch by 1-inch aluminum rectangular tube stock. I've drilled a 1/4 inch hole down through the middle of that tube, tube stock. That lets you just thread that onto the tabs. And in the case of this extension, also lets you thread it in. I drilled these 2 pieces of 1-inch tube together. I gang drilled them, which means I attached those 2 pieces of 1-inch tube together and drilled the holes at one time to make sure that they all lined up perfectly. That one is critical. The holes on the 2-inch pieces are less so, because if they're not quite centered, it doesn't really matter. And then as far as how the fluid head attaches, I just took another piece of 1/4 inch flat stock, 1/4 inch by 2 inch, and heated it up, put it in a vise, and bent it to a 90-degree angle. Drilled a 1/4 inch hole up through, centered on this, and what I took is I took a thumb screw, put it up through there, put a wing nut on that so that I could tighten the thumb screw up in and then lock it in with the wing nut and with a couple of lock washers in here. It's working out really, really well. I bought the fluid head. I'll put a link in the show notes for the fluid head. It's about $30, which is a little pricey, but you can use it for your tripods and that sort of thing as well. But it is very nice. It gives you a nice smooth action on 3 different axes. Well, 2 different axes and the rotation. So very, very nice, and works out very well. Now you may have noticed that this is already a little bit dinged up. There's a reason for that. Today was the first day of archery season in Pennsylvania, and I actually took this hunting today. It was I actually am filming this after the fact because I really had to get this done for the first day of hunting season. And it really worked out fantastic. So what would I do differently on this? I've only found 2 things that I'm going to do differently. First is that instead of using this little cam strap, I'm going to use a ratchet strap. The cam strap was okay, but I had a really hard time getting it to keep really firm tension. And what you can't have, this can't slip a bit. Once you've got it all strapped in, once you've got the this leveling bolt screwed in. This can't slip or everything gets unstable. So I'm going to use a ratchet strap. Now you don't need to crank down. Remember, you've got those braze joints up here with the claw, and you don't want to crank down. You will break that braze if you try to tighten it too much, but just enough to put on pressure and keep on pressure. The only other thing I'm going to change, and this is something I learned from the camera arm that I bought, is if these two 1-inch pieces were just about an inch shorter, they would be able to nest closer in to this piece, and you would be able to fold the main body over a little bit more, and just it would make it a little easier to store in your pack. Now I will say this takes up a lot of room in your pack. It does. It's not heavy, but it's bulky. But I really had a lot of fun using this today. It worked out really well. I'm going to try, and you know how busy I've been trying to get ready for the fall, and now I've got hunting season and quite a few things going on. But I'm going to try to put up a SketchUp drawing in the notes on the blog, and I'm also going to try to put some instructions on there. So I'll put the link in the comments down below. If you're interested, if you want to build one of these yourself, if you want to see the where you can buy the components off of Amazon or some of the other places that I bought components for this, go check that out on the blog and get on it. It's really not this hard. It took me like an evening and a half to build this whole thing, paint and all. So hope you like it, hope you try it, and good hunting. One last thing. If you like this, if you like any of our videos, please click like down below. It really helps get the word out and gets the show noticed, so I would appreciate it. Thanks again.